All right, what's going on, you guys? Nick here with Nick Strength and Power, and I've got a couple interesting stories for you guys today, so let's get straight into it here. The first story that I have for you guys is going to be about Big Ramy. So Big Ramy was in Portugal this weekend, where he did a guest posing. And during that guest posing, he looked absolutely phenomenal. So I have some video here from this Portugal Power Expo, where Big Ramy did this guest posing. And honestly, this version of Big Ramy that we're seeing on stage at this guest posing, to me, almost looks like some versions of Big Ramy that we've seen on stage in actual competition condition. I think he actually looks really good here for guest posing shape, because we've definitely seen some versions of Big Ramy where he's actually competed and certainly missed the mark as far as conditioning is concerned. And again, I think this version that we're looking at here in this guest posing almost looks like an off version of Big Ramy at an actual competition. So again, that suggests to me that I think we're going to see Big Ramy compete very, very soon. Now, we know that Big Ramy is wanting to compete, or has at least verbally committed to competing in March of 2020 at the 2020 Arnold Classic in Columbus, Ohio. But I'm still thinking that based on what we're seeing here, we could see Big Ramy compete in something before the end of 2019. I think Big Ramy is going to do a show before 2019 is over, just based on the conditioning that we're seeing here. Now, if he were only going to do the 2020 Arnold Classic, he would be pretty deep into his offseason right now. He would probably look like a very, very off-season version of Big Ramy. But the conditioning that we're seeing here looks to me like a Ramy that is prepping for a show, and it has looked that way for the past several weeks, almost a month, really. It's looked like he's been dialing it in and getting ready for something. Now, there's a show coming up, I think in about 3 weeks now, the Romania Pro Show. Now, the only other big-name pro that I'm aware of right now that is currently prepping for this Romania show is actually Regan. Now, he's been documenting his journey to this show, probably for the past 2 or 3 months now. He announced that he was doing this show, and he's been, documenting his prep the entire course of that, past 10 weeks, 12 weeks, whatever it was. And now, here at 3 weeks out, we're seeing a very dialed-in version of Regan here. And this video actually is a guest posing that he did at around 3 weeks out. This was on manager Matt's Instagram page here. So Regan is looking certainly to be a dangerous competitor at this Romania Pro for his return back to men's open bodybuilding. As you guys know, his last competition, he had switched to classic physique from men's open bodybuilding. Didn't do as well as he hoped to do in classic physique. Now he's switching back to men's open. So Regan has certainly had some ups and downs in his bodybuilding career, because when he was in men's open bodybuilding, he had gotten all the way up to about 300 pounds when he had went to Kuwait to try to get bigger there and do, what a lot of the top guys have been doing going over to Kuwait. And we'll talk about that a little bit later on with someone else that is not a bodybuilder, Jeremy Buendia. But Regan has had these ups and downs. He's gotten very big as a men's open guy. He's dropped down a lot of weight to get into classic physique. Now he's on his journey back up in weight, but still trying to keep the classic lines that he has while he competes in men's open bodybuilding. So I'm looking forward to seeing how Regan does at this Romania show. But I'm interested to see if Big Ramy is going to jump in this show as well, because to me, winning this show would qualify the winner of that Romania show for the 2020 Mr. Olympia. So that would suggest to me that would be a good opportunity for Big Ramy. It's a show that's before the end of the year. It's a relatively recent show. Big Ramy recently is in very good condition. So I wouldn't be surprised if we saw Big Ramy jump in a lineup like that and try to qualify for the 2020 Olympia by winning that show, and then not have as much stress going into the 2020 Arnold Classic. Because if he goes into the 2020 Arnold Classic and Sean Roden is there and he can't beat Sean at that Arnold Classic, he's not going to qualify for the Olympia, and he's going to have to keep competing after the Arnold to try to qualify for the 2020 Mr. Olympia. So again, and I've said this several times, I think the smarter move for Big Ramy is to do a show before the end of the year, before the end of 2019, and try to qualify for the Olympia before the end of the year, and then focus on the Arnold Classic after that. And then the stakes won't be so high for Big Ramy when it comes to the Arnold Classic, whether he wins or not. But if the Arnold Classic is the only show he's going to do between now and the Arnold, the stakes will be much, much higher for him to have to win that show. And I think that would cause a lot of stress for Big Ramy, and it seems in the past that Big Ramy has wavered under that stress, and the result of that is him coming in off and not coming in as sharp as he needs to come in to actually win. Like I said before, everybody knows Big Ramy is big. Everybody knows he's huge. That's why his name is Big Ramy. What everybody wants to see is big, huge Big Ramy coming in condition, coming in a little bit smaller, but coming in shredded, along with that crazy size that he brings. So I'm hoping the best for both of these guys, Big Ramy, whether he competes or not before the end of 2019, and also, of course, to my boy Regan Grimes. Now that those stories are out of the way, let's talk about probably the biggest story of this video that the most people have sent to me and the most people have tagged me in. And that is Jeremy Buendia's recent post on Instagram about a 2020 comeback. And not only a 2020 comeback, but also the fact that he's going to Kuwait to prepare for that 2020 comeback. So Jeremy Buendia has been no stranger to controversy in the past couple of months. He's been called out and exposed on all sorts of different YouTube channels. You guys know which ones I'm talking about. And he's just been at the center of a lot of drama and controversy outside of his actual competitive career because obviously he did not compete at the Olympia this year. So Jeremy announced on his Instagram today that he will be making a comeback in 2020. He posted this picture with a picture of the Oxygen Gym logo, which is the gym in Kuwait that Big Ramy was training at, Roelly Winklaar trained at, and Mr. Olympia 2018 Brandon Curry trained at. And he also had a picture of him on stage at the Olympia next to a picture of the trainer of Brandon Curry, Coach Abdullah, holding the Sandow and wearing that first place Olympia medal. So the caption reads, 2020, it's on. I'm coming back to the stage to reclaim my title. I am joining forces with Abdullah of Oxygen Gyms, and I'm looking forward to training in Kuwait with Coach Abdullah and the reigning Mr. Olympia champ, Brandon Curry. Fight for 5 in reference to his 5th title. Team Oxygen, Olympia champ is back, Camel Crew. So this post has been going relatively viral, actually, since he's posted it. It's got over 100,000 likes in just under a day. Tons of people have sent me this post asking my thoughts on it. And honestly, I'm not really sure what to make of it because Oxygen Gym, the main appeal of it seems to be for men's open bodybuilders that are wanting to get huge and wanting to put on that extra muscle and come in and be the freaks. I mean, the biggest freak in the Olympia lineup this year was, in fact, Roelly Winklaar, and he was training at Oxygen Gyms. Now, the winner of the 2018 Mr. Olympia, even though he wasn't the biggest freak, was Brandon Curry, who's put on a ton of size since choosing to go out to Kuwait and train there, and made tremendous improvements since going out to Kuwait to train there. And also, who really got his competitive start training at Oxygen Gym was Big Ramy. When Big Ramy was becoming Big Ramy and becoming the freak that we know today as Big Ramy, he did that at Oxygen Gym. So you have guys like Roelly and Ramy and Mr. Olympia, Brandon Curry training at Oxygen Gym, but I don't really know what to make of them training a men's physique guy because that's not really what they're known for. They are known for helping guys make improvements, but to me, Oxygen Gym is mostly known for putting on a lot of size on these guys, just packing on as much muscle as humanly possible, and then dieting these guys down is what Oxygen seems to be all about. In fact, when Regan Grimes went out there, like I mentioned earlier, he put on a ton of weight, and he was weighing close to 300 pounds, if not over 300 pounds at one point, I believe. Or maybe he was just high 290s. I can't recall. But he got pretty big at Oxygen Gym, and I believe that's the reason why he left, is because he felt that he got too big. So the game plan there seems to just to get these guys big. So I don't know how that's going to work for Jeremy Buendia and if that's going to be the right move for a men's physique competitor. Now, in addition to that, whether or not this is a good move for his actual physique, whether it's a good move for his brand or his reputation is a whole nother question entirely. I think, a lot of the controversy that surrounded Jeremy over the past year was a very big deal, and I think it really soured a lot of fans from Jeremy Buendia. I think a lot of people would really like to see Jeremy just take a step back from competing, from social media, and really work more on himself, and not work on himself in terms of his physique, but work on himself in terms of as a person. So it should be interesting to see how this plays out in terms of both Jeremy's physique and whether or not his fans rally behind him in this comeback to the 2020 Mr. Olympia, or whether people actually support this comeback or are interested in seeing it, or if this distracts people long enough from all the drama going on lately that people just don't mind or don't care. And I know Jeremy has also expressed some interest in classic physique. So even though he says he's coming back to the stage to reclaim his title, could he compete in a division above men's physique, like classic physique? And above, I mean a more muscular division where he has to actually show his legs. Could he do a different category and try to reclaim an Olympia title in a different division. That could be something we could see as well, but I guess only time will tell. But in any case, I also wish Jeremy Buendia the best of luck out there in Kuwait. Now, that being said, the final story that I have for you guys today is Roelly Winklaar doing a guest posing in Australia. This is the most recent guest posing that we've seen of Roelly Winklaar. I had a fan actually send this video to me. So Roelly Winklaar not really looking like he's going to be doing a show anytime soon. My expectation for Roelly, based on what we're seeing here and based on the Olympia placing, would be the next show that we would see him at would probably be the Arnold Classic in Columbus, Ohio as well, to add him to that lineup with Sean Roden, Big Ramy, Roelly Winklaar, potentially Brandon Curry. It's going to be a great Arnold Classic 2020. And I'm going to leave you guys with the rest of that guest posing video here. As always, I hope you guys enjoyed this video. Please give it a thumbs up if you did enjoy it. Please subscribe to this channel if you have not subscribed already. And as always, Nick Strength and Power signing out.